Rationalizing the denominator is the process of removing any surds from the denominator, and there are two distinct cases. In the first case, the denominator is a surd or a multiple of a surd, such as 3 over 2 root 2, for example. In such cases, simply multiply the top and bottom by the surd present in the denominator. So in this case, we have square root 2 in the denominator. So to get rid of this surd, all we have to do is multiply the top and bottom by square root 2. Because doing so is going to give us in the denominator square root 2 times square root 2. That cancels out to just become 2. So 2 times 2 is going to be 4. And then in the numerator, we've got 3 root 2. And what we have done is we have removed any surd in the denominator. Okay, so that's going to be the first case. In the second case, the denominator is a surdic expression with two terms in which one or both terms contain a surd. For example, we could have something like 2 over 2 plus root 3. So in such cases, multiply the top and bottom by the conjugate surd of the denominator. Now, if we have a surdic expression given by something like, say, a plus root b, then the conjugate is going to be a minus root b. So the conjugate surd is just an expression where we reverse the sign in between the two terms. And the idea of multiplying the top and bottom by the conjugate surd is that it utilizes the difference of two squares to remove any surdic expressions in the bottom. So in this case, if we look at this, the bottom becomes 2 plus root 3 times 2 minus root 3. So we know that difference of two squares, a plus b times a minus b, expands into a squared minus b squared. If we are not familiar with this identity from early years, okay, I do talk about this once again in methods in algebra, which is the next topic. So familiarize yourself with the content in that section and we'll be all good. Okay, but utilizing this identity first, in the bottom, I've got a plus b times a minus b, which means that by difference of two squares, we get a squared minus b squared. Okay, the top, the 2 times 2 minus root 3 gives us 4 minus 2 root 3. And the idea here is that in the bottom, if I take the square root of 3 and square it, okay, that just becomes 3 and the square root disappears. So what we have in this case is 4 minus 2 root 3 over 4 minus 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. So this just leaves us with 4 minus 2 root 3. Okay, so normally when there is something left in the bottom, okay, we'll just have a fraction with that something remaining in the bottom. But by applying the difference of two squares, we are essentially removing any surds from the denominator. Thus, we are rationalizing the denominator. And this is essentially what we want to do if we want to get rid of surds in the denominator of our fractions.